YouTube, what's going on? Well, we're going to do something a little different. The channel has been mostly 164th, but you know what? I did the bigger cars first. So obviously, most of us don't have unlimited budgets, and I would obviously like to have a lot more 118 scale cars, but the reason I really did get into the 164th was they started making these cars a lot more detailed, and they were doing a lot more stock subjects, not the exotics and all this other thing. So they're branching off into the 70s and 80s, 90s cars that kind of got overlooked, even when they were out brand new by the Diecast people. So that's why we've been seeing a lot of 164th. I love them, and they're able, I'm able to get a bunch of different cars I wouldn't normally get in larger scales, especially one, but they don't make them, or two, they're just more money. But I do get 143rd scale occasionally. It's not something I concentrate on, but I do like the scale, and I particularly buy that scale when I have castings or certain cars that I like a lot. Well, Monaco, Fury car, definitely. So those B-body cars, um, they kind of came out after. So 164th, I think, won Greenlight, and I'm talking about Greenlight. They did the 164th and then the 118th shortly thereafter, and then we had the follow-up with 143 scale, which is another very common scale for diecast. So we're going to look at these cars, and also I kind of waited because just kind of figuring I was going to take my time with 143, just because it's kind of like an aside at this point for the concentration, but they're actually inexpensive. Good high quality 143rd scale cars, believe it or not, can go up to $100 or more. And I'm talking about these cars aren't even die cast, they're resin. Some of you to the channel probably know about what I'm talking about, but they're very high fidelity, meaning high detail cars. And they look basically like what I'm showing you here. Now this car retails about $15, give or take 20. You could see them on sale, for $20, and you might see them as cheap as $13, but in that range. And I'm talking about when they're first released, which has been the last few years, last couple of years anyway. These cars have been available. This is one of the first batches. This is the Hunter Monaco from the Hunter TV series. But this is a 143rd scale car. Let's get the 164th down real quick. I forgot to get it. This car I did a wheel swap on. But so you can see the size difference. But look at the quality. Now, you can also go to the channel and see the 118th scale version of this. I don't have room to bring that one down. I just wanted to say, Greenlight's fun to collect too for me. I know a lot of people only do certain scales, but they'll make the same car in different scales. And we did back on the channel way back, I'd have all the A-Team vans, 164th, 143rd, 124, and 118. And I probably will get the 124 scale Monaco. They have that out now. I've seen it at the store already. So that's like a this month release, a 2021 January release. So they'll have this same car in 124 scale as well. And we've seen that. We've seen that actual casting. I did a 124 scale video on this. It's the A-Team Army Monaco. But I would say, besides the 118th, the 143rd scale probably has the best looking one. I believe that this front end is probably better than the 118th scale in terms of its looks. I certainly like the wheel and tire combination. It looks a little bit more realistic. The rims are a lot smaller than the 118th scale. So I think this car looks the best out of all of them. The taillights are even really good. But again, with 143rd, there's a crazy range in scale. I'd say the cars are in the $50 to $90 range. Look very close to what this car is at $20 and under. So that was another reason I kind of picked these up. Because, again, the scale is small. And when you have 1/18th scale prices on some of them, it makes you hesitant to get the scale. But when they're affordable like this and they look good, I'd say go for it. Plastic base. They do they do what they do on their larger scale cars. It's actually, they'll put a backing on the post. So this wheel goes under that post there, and that basically they'll have like a fake brake caliper behind it, and that doesn't spin. You can say it stays from spinning with those little tabs. You can see that. Actually operates pretty good. Their 118 scale, they do the same type of thing, and it rubs real bad. So they actually got away with the 143rd scale again. Pretty good. Let's take a little zoom, and we'll move on to the blue car. So the blue car is a 77 Fury, and this is supposed to be a 78 Monaco, and in 78. I've talked about this before. Those rims would have been more correct. 77, they still were using the older steel wheel without the big slots. So most of the Greenlight cars with the wheels and tires are concerned are kind of incorrect. Unless you do like a 78. So unfortunately, it'd be nice if I can cast some resin wheels and swap all of them to the older steel style. I think the cars would look a lot better. Same thing with the 77, and of course this car goes good with my 118 scale. I don't know if we've looked at it on the channel. I can't remember. I do have this car now in 118 scale. I might take a look at that. So the Fury difference between the Dodge, it's always nice to have the both. You know, Chrysler in this time frame in the 70s, especially the late 70s, they were getting cash strapped, and basically this car was a platform that went back to the late 60s, early 70s, and they really kind of carried this through until like 82, and I think it went downsized. So then they used, of course, we talked about the Diplomat, and it went smaller. They kind of used basically the car that was smaller than this car to carry it on to 89. When was their last kind of full-size rear-wheel drive car until the Charger came back, which is kind of funny. But the M car was their full-size, and the M car, this car, went from B to M. This was really like the medium-sized car. So there we go. Let's zoom out. So good paint. The grille is a little weird. It's supposed to have more grille detail. It's kind of open. So, but the headlights are great. Same wheels and tires. They put the Fury in the wrong area. Kind of noticed that a while after I've owned this. So Fury is supposed to be here, basically in this area. Oh, kitty hairs, or dog, and one of them, right there. So probably have to change this. It's funny, it lasted a while. This paper will probably be changed out, starting to lose its fibers. So it's getting dusty. Blue interior, I like it. So the best car I want to look at, these are kind of cool. Same base, and they're serialized. Yeah, you can see this is 1035, and I think this car, can't remember if it was on the base or on the car. See, on the Monaco, I don't believe I see a serial number. Let's see, maybe someone can spot it later. It's not zoom. It's not focusing very well. Okay, we've talked about these, talked about drivetrains and stuff. I have gone into these cars a little bit more on the 118 scale video. But they're cool. I mean, they have their own little spot in the collection. I like them. But this is the one that really intrigued me. Wanted to have the box Caprice. These just came out basically a month ago. I think they started hitting. There's some issues with this. I think the Chrysler cars came out pretty good. The Caprice, there's a little hit and miss on it. I think and we can get just remember real quick, I really have high praise for their 164 scale car. You can see how the window treatment's a lot more realistic looking with the windows being inset. This is more flush mounted windows. I don't think the roof line is the same. This is to me, very accurate feeling. This one's a little bit fatter. Hopefully they are making a 118 scale, so we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully very good. All in all, though, it's nice. I mean, the wheels are good. I think LAPD ran full wheel covers, but a lot of the cars Had the dog dish wheel, so I know they ran these kind of wheels too. I think CHP ran them more than LAPD, but most of the pictures had the dog dishes. There's a couple with these though. Really small. The spotlight is kind of undersized. That's kind of good. I think the light bar is decent. Um, in real life, the car would not have tan. I think CHP did the tan. But most of these cars were that really dark blue. That was kind of the 9C1 hallmark. It usually ran that blue interior. There was tan, but a lot of them had the blue, especially late 80s. And then in this car, ended 90. This is supposed to be an 87 car, and has the bumpers. So it has the bumper fillers here. I think they started to ditch that towards the end of this car's fleet service. So this body style, 1980 to 90. And then 91 we had the bubble car, which was the rounded one. I think I used to have a matchbox of it. I'll show you if you don't know what I'm talking about. Pretty good though on the back. I think the taillights are great. 86 had those taillights, I believe, but they had the inset headlights. 87 is supposed to have flush mount. These are the older headlights. I almost feel like I should backdate this car or make the headlights flush. I mean, this is correct. The grille was more vertical. Once the redesign. A lot of the later 90 or 1990, 89 cars, these were absent, and it was just the bumper. See a little dust. But I think up close it's good. It needs a little bit of paint touch-up, but not bad. These cars had 350s in them by this time, and fuel injected. So it was probably the best one. The Ford really couldn't do well. Their high output motor was a carb motor. It was a 4-barrel carburetor, 5.8, 351. That was their high spec. And then they had a 302 fuel injected car, sort of like the Mustang engine. But Ford wasn't as quick as this car, and it definitely didn't handle as well. This had a little bit stiffer setup. This is a great car to drive. It's really fun. Today this car drives like a pickup truck, but back then, I mean, they're awesome. 4-speed heavy-duty automatic transmission, really heavy-duty motor. A lot of people kept these in service longer than even current generation cars. They were that heavy-duty. The problem with this, too, this casting, you can see the tires got really skinny. They have a good side profile, but not this way. So this looks a little bit thin. These can be fixed if you have donor cars. You can kind of change stuff out. They will be making a dog dish wheel for this car, so I might get one and swap it. I'm very excited to see. I have not seen any pre-production photos of the 1/18 scale box Caprice, so excited to see that. And as a bonus, does this have a... Yeah, this one's kind of good. Oh, low production, 97, so under 100. That's pretty cool. I just saw this today, so kind of inspired me to get the 143rd cars down because they're good to share. I think they're good. And here's its... I think, again, the 164 scale looks really good. Anyway, we have one bonus car, and this is another one I found. The 124 scale car of this casting doesn't look very good, but the 143rd scale one does. I don't have a 164 scale. I thought this looked the best. I've seen all of them in person, and I think this one has the best stance. I do believe, yes, they actually tooled a larger tire in the back. A lot of them have the same thickness tires. The 143rd scale had the bigger tire, and this was fake in real life, but the blower scoop, that was all kind of scaled correctly. I like the way the flat black was contrasting with the gloss. This is basically the first movie car, because after this the car got crazy, really dirty first of all, and then they had external tanks and the whole thing changed. But this is when it was clean, and I think I like this version the best. It's just a sweet car. I mean, The Aussies have good muscle car heritage, just like the North American cars, and South America as well as America and Canada. They all had their own variants. So our continent and theirs definitely have the same feeling towards cars. They were running great motors, and cars were smaller, but they had the same motors. So I think they had it right. They didn't get too excessive like we did here in America. So these were cars in the 70s. I mean, we didn't have cars like this. Our cars like this were in the 60s, and then we moved on to big land yachts. This is a pretty cool car. So that's a Falcon Ford V8 car, who, for those who don't know, and it even has the light on the dash. I mean, the whole thing is awesome. Zoomies. What a cool car. This is one of the cars I've always wanted to drive. 210 on the serial. It's got a huge air dam. Look at that. That's all diecast, so the body's diecast. Even did the headlights pretty good. I mean, the headlight covers. There's some flashing there. I'll probably trim off. I just wanted to show you how it looked out of the box. So you can get that with a blade. It won't be nearly as noticeable. I mean, you don't have to take it apart and sand it or anything. Yeah. MFP. Side profile's great. Look at that. So they tuck the tires in. So I mean, I'm a fan of the 143rd scale cars because they pick good subjects and a lot of them look great. I think the Ford Torino, that was one of the earlier 143rd scale castings, not as great. But these later ones are pretty good. So I like this a lot. And if you need to know any information, some boxes. There's your information there. And they also come in acrylic cases, which the 1/18th scale and all the other scales, 1/24th, they don't come with their own box. So if you wanted to display these cars and not get dust on them, it does come with the acrylic case. So this is a Christine car, the Jenkins Sheriff. They got pretty attractive boxes. A lot of people probably will just have them in the box, but Hunter car. These are available. You'll find them in some retailers. Definitely. You don't have to go online. I think most of these I found locally. Skynet. I mean, that's kind of cool. Who doesn't remember that movie? Alright. Well, a little something different. Kind of throw it in the mix. Hope you all enjoyed it. Appreciate all the new subscriptions. Hope you're enjoying the channel. More to come. I'm still mulling over doing Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. They have a lot of significant castings from 2020 that we haven't looked at. Probably just throw those up just so we have it on there. It also helps me organize the cars after I do these so I can put them away. I don't feel like I have to have them out so much, and we got a little bit of a pile up, so maybe we'll get through that. But premium stuff too coming down the pike. Don't want to forget that. And well, Caprice. Who doesn't like Caprice, and who doesn't like Monaco Fury? I mean, I sure don't know. I like this car. I think it can be tuned up a little bit. If you get past the windows, I think it looks good. And again, the late 80s, early 90 cap, I'm going to paint this black in here, give it more of a black wash in there, and that wheel cover will look a lot better, look a lot more period. They started using these type of wheel covers out the black. Later Bubble Caprice, they'd have that, so they won't have the black in there. But so we'll get that changed. You know it. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks again. More to come. Till next time.